Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed executive producer Marc-Alexis Cote did an interview a couple of weeks ago, and he revealed that developers working on the upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows are describing the game as the worst thing they've ever seen. Wrote this up over at fandompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. I encourage you to become a subscriber over there at Fandom Pulse. We are putting up tons of great content and articles for you to read, informing you about what is happening in the world of entertainment, whether that be in video games, comics, movies, or television. I also encourage you to become a paid subscriber. This is my full-time job. We are coming straight to you. We are fully funded by you, the reader. We are eschewing any kind of ad partners and the basically behemoth that Google is. So we are going straight to you. So if you want more like this, please support my work over there at fandompulse.com. So this Marc-Alexis Cote did this big interview at this XDS 24 conference. And during the Q&A portion of the interview, he revealed that many of the people working at Ubisoft on the Assassin's Creed franchise have no experience with the franchise. Let's just take a listen to what he had to say here.
Career, I keep remembering that that comic strip on Penny Arcade. I don't know if you guys used to read it, but at one point they built a game, and one of the comic strips was about realizing how difficult it is to build games, and I think one of the titles or one of the thing that was written is like, a game is shit until it's good. And I think this is something we've all experienced. Yeah. Like, you're like, it sucks. And then suddenly it starts to be good. But I think it's walking people through that. One of the things that I've noticed since the pandemic is that we have a lot of juniors in our teams, and I don't know if this is something that's your case as well, but the seniority has lowered globally, and probably half the team that's building an Assassin's Creed is building a game for the first time, so they don't know. So you have to explain to them that even though they're playing the game right now and they...
So let's just pause it right there real quick. That is a massive admission that there has been massive brain drain at Ubisoft. Half of the people working on Assassin's Creed have never worked on the franchise at all before. Huge, huge brain drain right there. I think that is massive, massive. But let's continue.
Think it's the worst thing they've ever seen. It's going to be good. Okay, we're going to get there and explain that I've been there as a leader. I remember my first time on Assassin's Creed. Like it was July and the game was shipping in October. I was like, there's no way this thing ends up shipping. And 91 Metacritic. Oh, okay, this is good. So I was wrong, because, like, again, it's not good until it is. And
so there you go. He says that multiple developers who have come to him saying that this is the worst thing that they've ever seen when they are working on it. And maybe these are the people that have never worked on a game before. He says over half of them have never worked on a game before, but I would assume it's people that have worked on it before that are telling him it's the worst thing they've ever seen, because they've likely worked on games before if this is something that they've never ever seen, right? But what is really, really interesting about this is that his comments come after they actually delayed this game. Remember, this game was actually supposed to come out today. November 15th. They delayed it to February 14, 2025. When at least I'm recording this on the 15th. You'll probably see this on Sunday. So 2 days prior. But remember, in just September, a couple months ago, they announced that this was going to be delayed. It says Assassin's Creed Shadows will now be released on 14 February 2025. They explained, while the game is feature complete, the learnings from the Star Wars Outlaws release led us to provide additional time to further polish the title. This will enable the biggest entry in the franchise to fully deliver on its ambition, notably by fulfilling the promise of our dual protagonist adventure, with Naui and Yasuke bringing two very different gameplay styles. We are departing from the traditional season pass model. All players will be able to enjoy the game at the same time on February 14, and those who pre-order the game will be granted the first expansion for free. The game will mark the return of our new releases on Steam Day 1. So that is what they announced in September, that they were delaying this game 5 months from November to February. And We also got an explanation from Cote on X here about why they were delaying the game. He said Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us, finally bringing the series to feudal Japan with many features developed with our community in mind, such as parkour or renewed stealth, brought by new technology, all set in a beautiful and immersive world. This is an ambitious addition to the franchise, a rich experience that can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists, but we realize we need more time to polish and refine the experience, pushing further some of our key features. As such, we've made the decision to postpone the release date to February 14, 2025. The game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam at launch. Additionally, pre-orders will be refunded and all future pre-orders will be granted the first expansion for free. He then added, we understand this decision will come as disappointing news, especially to those who've been waiting patiently for an Assassin's Creed game inspired by feudal Japan, but we sincerely believe this is in the best interest of the game and ultimately your experience as a player. And then he claims that you will embark on a memorable adventure with Naoe and Yasuke. Until then, we thank you for your ongoing support. So again, he's saying that they delayed this so they can have more time to polish and refine the experience. And this game, and it also this interview also comes after we got the first half 2024-25 earnings figures conference call, where Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot revealed that they're going to be spending 20 million extra euros to develop this game. That's what they're doing now. They're spending an extra 20 million. That's what they're doing with this delay. He was asked this question by an investor from BMO. On Assassin's Creed Shadows, you guys said you delayed the game. You keep saying it was feature ready. So I'm curious, when you went through and looked back at the game, were you guys finding bugs? Looking back, were you glad you moved it? And I think you talked about an extra 20 million euros in development costs from doing this. How is that tracking? And Guillemot said, on Assassin's Creed Shadows, what we had said was that on the back of what we saw with Outlaws, we need to really make sure that we come with an impeccable player experience. Of course, there are always some bugs, but we've been focusing and continue focusing on making sure that the day one experience will be well optimized. And yes, you are right. We had mentioned that would translate into about 20 million euros in the total budget, as we've kept a strong level of resources on this last phase of development and polishing. So it's not just polishing anymore. It's last phase of development now. Remember, it was all about just polishing. Now they're actually developing things. And we did get a rumor. We've got a couple of rumors that had previously explained what exactly they were going to be using this delay for, what the things that they were going to be changing. Tom Henderson originally shared this at Insider Gaming, saying that Ubisoft was, quote, changing some of Yasuke's story and how he's portrayed in the game, fixing architectural details, and ensuring that the game is historically grounded while fitting into the Assassin's Creed universe. He also added the game is currently not at the stage it needs to be for release, and I'm told that there have been some tweaks to some gameplay mechanics and elements that are going to take time to incorporate. So that is really interesting, right? Henderson saying that the game was not at the stage it needed to be for release, and Cote is out here saying that his developers have been telling him that this game is the worst thing they've ever seen, and he's like, oh no, don't worry, once we release it'll be great. It's terrible until it isn't, right? It's like, what are you talking about? And then he shared this, that historical experts, Henderson did, that historical experts were brought onto the project much later than usual for a project of this magnitude, and that miscommunication between teams and cutting corners when it came to the approval process of assets to meet deadlines resulted in many of the historical and cultural concerns that have been raised by gamers. He also divulged this, that Ubisoft management had ignored their own developers who had been calling for a delay. He said this is what Henderson said, 7 developers working on the project said that they have been pushing for a delay for some time, and their situation had even been heard at other studios in the company. So I don't think Marc-Alexis Cote is being hyperbolic when he says that people came to him, the developers on Assassin's Creed Shadows came to him and said they think it's the worst thing they've ever seen. I think he just made a massive admission. I don't think he realizes he's done that, but I think he made a massive admission that this game is going to be terrible. If they had shipped this game November 15, we would have seen how absolutely garbage it was. I mean, I doubt they're going to be able to salvage all of it by February. I mean, they bought themselves, 5 months? December, January, February. If you count November, 4 or 5 months. I mean, he's admitting that the people working on the game think it's the worst thing they've ever seen. Absolutely Wild. And we had this rumor before he even made these comments that developers have been telling him, delay this game. It's not ready. Delay the game. This is not good for Assassin's Creed Shadows and for Ubisoft. It's good for gamers because I think gamers will be able to more easily avoid the game now and avoid all of the woke lecturing that this game is going to have. And then obviously the humiliation ritual and everything that's going to have as well. Even just having Yasuke as this samurai in the game is humiliating, right? It should be a male Japanese protagonist. That is an absolute no-brainer. The only reason they have Yasuke as the main character is clearly for their DEI woke agenda, which I've covered in previous videos. But I also want to just bring this up as well. Endymion had previously shared information from his source that claimed that Ubisoft was also planning to make changes to Yasuke. He said this: one of the things for sure getting removed from Shadows, according to my sources, is indeed the rap hip-hop music for Yasuke. Again, I think that was part of the whole humiliation ritual, right? Apparently, Ubisoft brought out a questionnaire and they were unanimously told that the rap music was tonally wrong and completely unneeded. And that it was actually offensive that Ubisoft believed Yasuke needed a hip-hop battle theme in a game that was set well before such music existed, and it was only implemented because Yasuke was black. So that's going to be gone for sure, he added. He then said this: they are also going to be removing dialogue from the game that, according to my source, told me that it would actually enrage players if they heard it. I wasn't given concrete examples of what kind of dialogue, but the source assumed it may have been Yasuke saying some sort of socio-political pandering nonsense about how he was sold by white men or something, that he hates white men and white supremacy must be abolished and such. They're also removing this because, of course, if that were in the game, it would absolutely be highlighted and used to detract even more people from supporting the game in the future. Again, this game was going to be a political lecture. It was going to be a humiliation ritual, much like we've seen with Dragon Age, the Veil Guard. And it looks like maybe they've caught up to that. They've wisened up a little bit, but I don't think they've wisened up all the way. We've also seen, I've covered this just yesterday in a video where Marc-Alexis Cote is talking about how they are going to change the world by changing players, and they basically want to like brainwash you into buying into their woke ideology. But I just think this is a massive admission by Cote, literally revealing that the developers for this game think it is the worst thing they've ever seen. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.